Hey guys, Jeremy Gillespie here from Going for Broke Outdoors, and today I'm going to review the Kenetrek Mountain Extreme 400 hunting boots. This review is not sponsored, and I purchased these boots with my own money. This review will cover the origins of the Kenetrek brand, the specs on these particular boots, sizing, the warranty, repairs, pricing, and my personal opinion of these boots after wearing this pair for the last 3 seasons and close to 1,000 miles. On the right, I've got a brand new pair of Kenetrek Mountain Extreme 400s, and to my left, as mentioned, the pair that I've worn for the last 3 seasons and have close to 1,000 miles on. Let's start with a little history of the Kenetrek brand. Jim Windham, who is the president and founder of Kenetrek Boots, also happens to be a sheep hunting fanatic, which provided the inspiration for the design and manufacture of the original Kenetrek boots. Kenetrek is an American company and it's headquartered in Bozeman, Montana, but the production of these boots actually occurs at a facility in Italy. And since the founding of the company, Kenetrek boots have earned a reputation as one of the premier hunting boots on the market. Alright, let's get into the specs on these boots. These ones here are both a size 12, and in the size 12, these boots weigh 2 pounds, 8.3 ounces per boot, so they're not exactly light. The boot is 10 inches tall, and it's made with a 2.8 millimeter thick premium full grain leather upper. It's got a one-piece construction that eliminates seams down the tongue, enhancing the boot's ability to stay dry. Now, if you're not familiar with a one-piece upper, what that means is there's no separation between the tongue and the rest of the boot, so this is all one piece, which helps the boot stay dry. Speaking of staying dry, the Mountain Extreme 400 is constructed with a Wintex waterproof, breathable, and flexible membrane. It's similar to Gore-Tex, and it helps keep the boot completely dry. Something else I noticed about the Mountain Extreme 400's construction is the double and triple stitching all the way around the boot, which really enhances the durability. This boot's constructed with a 7mm nylon midsole. The midsole sits in the sole sandwich and provides the boot with incredible rigidity, which really helps alleviate pressure points on the bottom of the foot when navigating rocky terrain. The rigid sole also increases stability for packing heavy loads. The sole itself features Kenetrek's lightweight and proprietary K-Talon outsoles, which provide excellent traction. The Mountain Extreme 400 has heavy-duty hardware. Notice that the boot hardware on the lower portion of the boot swivels. This helps prevent hardware failures such as broken lace loops when navigating rough, rocky terrain. And then the lower portion of the boot is actually wrapped in a reinforced rubber sole guard, which protects the leather and provides extra abrasion resistance. The Mountain Extreme 400 is the insulated version of this boot. Kenetrek also makes a non-insulated version, but the insulated version contains 400 grams of thin slit insulation for warmth without added bulk. For the last several years, I've worn these boots on late season mule deer hunts in below 0 or single digit temperatures, and with a proper wool sock, these boots have always been warm. When it comes to sizing, Kenetrek boots are constructed from a Brannock device. What the heck is a Brannock device? Well, you've probably seen one or used one without even realizing the proper name. If you want to ensure a properly fit Kenetrek boot from an online order, find your nearest Brannock device, measure your foot, and you should be good to go. My experience with sizing on these boots is they've been right on. Well, let's talk about the warranty for a minute. Kenetrek's website advertises a non-cost replacement within 12 months if, and I quote, any Kenetrek product fails due to defective materials or poor workmanship within 12 months from the date of purchase and before the soles are worn 75%, they will be repaired or replaced by Kenetrek. And there's also a disclaimer that boot damages resulting from, quote, improper care, alterations, accidents, or natural wear and tear are not covered. Send your defective or damaged products to Kenetrek for evaluation. I've actually been to the Kenetrek retail store in Bozeman on several occasions. They have an in-house boot repair center there. If for some reason you're having issues with your boots, I personally haven't, you can send your boots in for evaluation and Kenetrek will quote you a price before they repair and return your boots. Alright, so let's talk about my initial impressions when I purchased this pair of boots. These boots look to be incredibly well constructed. The maiden voyage consisted of a 3-mile break-in hike, and I'm happy I didn't attempt anything more ambitious. During the first outing, I found the boots to be incredibly and almost unusably stiff. The initial stiffness prevented anywhere near the full range of articulation, and my ankle caused me to walk like a saddle-chapped cowboy. I also wore a standard weight cotton crew sock, which resulted in several hot spots, even after only 3 miles. After that initial hike, I was honestly concerned I'd made a pretty expensive mistake because I found the boots to be uncomfortable, bordering on unusable. Well, the following weekend I planned a different 4-mile hike and I switched to a mid-weight wool synthetic brand hiking sock. The sock made a huge difference, and by the end of the 4-mile hike, the leather and the laces began to loosen up a little bit. I felt a little less regret about my purchase and perhaps a little bit of optimism. I continued logging hikes in the 3 to 6 mile range over the next several weekends, and it wasn't until the 35-mile mark where I felt the boots were truly broken, so I would definitely advise against buying these boots the week before a hunting trip. I talked about the construction of the midsole and how thick it is, and the leather upper itself is actually pretty thick, so these boots do require an adequate break-in period, and for me that was about 35 miles. After the initial 35 miles, when the boots were really starting to get broke in, I started to enjoy them, and any buyer's remorse faded with every additional mile logged. Around the same time, I also noticed the relationship between lace tension and comfort. I experimented a bit with lace in the boots with different levels of lace tension, and I found a good balance between support and comfort. Prior to purchasing the Kenetreks, I'd been wearing a pair of Danner pronghorns. One of the things that I noticed immediately on the rocky trails of the Beartooth Mountains here in Montana was how much more support that stiff 7mm midsole provided when navigating the rocky trails. That stiffer sole offers two major advantages. First, it alleviates pressure points on the bottom of the foot when traversing rocky terrain, and second, it greatly increases the stability in the ankle support of the boot. While it shouldn't have come as much of a surprise that purpose-built sheep hunting boots excelled in rocky terrain, the difference when compared to the pronghorn was more pronounced than I had anticipated. Another major difference that I noticed between the pronghorns and the Kenetrek Mountain Extremes is the true one-piece upper on the Kenetreks, which means the boot is waterproof the full height of the boot. The first year I had these boots, I hunted quite a few days during the early elk season with temperatures north of 50 degrees. I found the 400-gram thinsulate actually to be a bit too warm under these conditions, which resulted in sweaty feet. One of the things I did this time around when I replaced these boots with a new pair of Kenetrek Mountain Extreme 400s is I also bought a pair of uninsulated Mountain Extremes. I plan to wear the uninsulated pair in any temperatures 45 to 50 degrees and above, and the Mountain Extreme 400s in anything below 45 degrees. During the past 3 hunting seasons, I've been fortunate enough to pack out some animals of my own and quite a few animals for friends. Packing a heavy load is one of the areas where the Mountain Extreme really shines. The combination of that stiff midsole and the 10-inch tall boot provide an extremely stable foundation to support that full suffer sack. One of the mistakes I made when I purchased these boots is I did not buy the Kenetrek waterproofing boot wax originally. According to the Kenetrek warranty, you have to use their waterproofing boot wax and no other compounds so you don't compromise the leather. I think it's kind of a racket personally, but it is what it is. So on these boots, I haven't taken them out yet, but before I do, I'm going to unlace them and make sure I waterproof boot wax the entire boot. Let's talk about an elephant in the room, and that is the pricing. The pricing on these boots is high. I believe the current pricing on these boots is $515 a pair. Kenetrek does normally offer some Black Friday sales where you can get these boots about 20% off, but even then they're still $400, which is pretty expensive. If you're considering purchasing these boots and they're not on sale, please use the link in the video description below. The boots will ship directly from Kenetrek and it's no additional cost to you, but I will earn a small commission which helps support the channel and provide reviews like this. Bottom line, would I buy these boots again? The answer is pretty clear. Yes, I really enjoyed these boots. To close out this review, I just want to recap the pros and cons. The pros, the boots are extremely durable. The one-piece upper provides extreme water resistance. It's an ideal boot for rugged terrain and heavy pack loads. That K-Talon sole provides excellent traction, and construction is true to sizing with that Brannock device. The cons, the big one is the price. These are expensive, but you get what you pay for in this case. And the relatively long break-in period to me is a bit of a con. If you're planning a hunt, you need to make sure you have adequate time to break these boots in or you're not going to enjoy them. The other con that I've noticed more recently is these boots do not provide the greatest traction on wet rock. So if you're hunting in a rocky area where you get frequent rain, you might want to look at another option. But in Montana, where it's dry most of the year, these boots are great. Guys, if you enjoyed this review, please give the video a like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of my future outdoor content. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.